Hi and welcome back to Sadie Spincraft. Today is a spin and story time. I will be playing the ice bat that I spun on the previous spin and story time, I do believe. I have shown it in a previous video. Oh, see? This, I'm ahead with video filming. Like, anyway, off that subject. Hope you enjoy chapter 3 of Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder, a Yelena Zaltana novel. So yeah, chapter 3, here we go. Chapter 3. Rayard's whip cut into my skin, slashing my flesh with a burning pain. "Move," he ordered. I dodged ineffectively, hampered by the rope tied to my wrists, which anchored me to a post in the centre of the room. "Move faster, keep moving," Rayard shouted. The whip snapped again and again. My tattered shirt gave no protection from the stinging leather. A cool, soothing voice entered my skull. "Go away," it whispered. "Send your mind to a distant place, a warm, loving place. Let your body go." The silken voice didn't belong to Rayard or Brazil. A saviour, perhaps. An easy way to escape the torment. Tempting, but I held out for another opportunity. Determined, I stayed focusing on avoiding the lash. When exhaustion claimed me, my body began to vibrate of its own accord, like an out-of-control hummingbird. I darted around the room, avoiding the whip. I woke in darkness, soaked with sweat. My crumpled uniform twisted tight around my body, the vibration in my dream replaced by a pounding. Before falling asleep, I had wedged a chair under the doorknob, to prevent anyone from barging in. The chair rattled with each thud. "I'm up," I shouted. The racket stopped. When I opened the door, Marg stood frowning with a lantern. I hastened to change my uniform and joined her in the hallway. "I thought you said sunrise." Her disapproving stare seared my lips shut. "It is sunrise." I followed Marg through the labyrinth of the castle's hidden hallways as the day began to brighten. My room faced west, shielding me from the morning sun. Marg extinguished the lantern just as the scent of sweet cakes filled the air. Inhaling, I asked her, "Breakfast?" A hopeful, almost pleading note crept into my voice, galling me. "No, Valak will feed you." The image of breakfast laced with poison did wonders for suppressing my appetite. My stomach tightened as the unwanted memory of Valak's butterfly dust came to mind. By the time we had reached his office, I had convinced myself that I was about to collapse, soon to be vanquished by the poison if I didn't receive the antidote. When I entered the room, Valak was in the process of arranging plates of steaming food. He had cleared off a section of the table. The displaced papers balanced in messy piles. He gestured to a chair. I sat searching the table for the small vial of antidote. "I hope you're..." Valak studied my face. I stared back, trying not to flinch under his scrutiny. It's amazing what a difference a bath and a uniform can make, Valak said, absently chewing on his slice of bacon. "I'll have to remember that. It might be useful in the future." Placing two plates of an egg and ham mixture before me, he said, "Let's get started." Feeling dizzy and flushed, I blurted out, "I'd rather start with the antidote." Another long pause from Valak caused me to fidget in my seat. "You shouldn't be feeling any symptoms." They won't arrive until later this afternoon. He shrugged and went to his cabinet. He used a pipette to extract a measure of the white liquid from a large bottle, and then locked the antidote back into his cabinet. My interest in the location of the key must have been obvious, because Valak used some type of sleight of hand to make the key disappear. Handing me the pipette, he sat down on the opposite side of the table. "Drink up, so we can start today's lesson," he said. I squeezed the contents into my mouth, cringing at the bitter taste. Valak took the pipette from my hands and exchanged it for a blue jar. "Take a sniff." The jar contained a white powder resembling sugar, but smelling like rosewood. Gesturing to the 2 plates cooling in front of me, Valak asked me to pick the one sprinkled with poison. I sniffed the food like a scent hound nosing for prey. A faint odour of rosewood emanated from the left plate. "Good. Should you pick up that aroma from any of the commander's food, reject it. The poison is called tictus, and a single grain of the powder will kill within the hour." Valak removed the tainted food. "Eat your breakfast," he indicated the other plate. "You'll need your strength." I spent the remainder of the day smelling poisons until my head ached and spun. The multitude of names and aromas began to confuse me, so I asked Valak for some paper, quill, and ink. He stilled. I don't know why you continue to surprise me. I should have remembered that General Brazil educates his orphans." Valak flung a book of papers, a quill and ink down in front of me. "Take them back to your room. We've done enough for today." I silently cursed myself for reminding Valak why I had been the next person to be executed, as I gathered the book and writing implements. Valak's hard, unforgiving expression revealed his thoughts. Taken off the streets, fed and educated by Brazil, I had repaid Brazil's kindness by murdering his only child. I knew Valak would never believe the truth about Brazil and Riyadh. General Brazil's orphanage was a topic of ridicule from the other generals. They thought he had gone soft. After the takeover of Ixia 15 years ago, this impression suited Brazil. Seen as a kindly old benefactor, Brazil could continue unchallenged in his administrations of Military District 5. I hesitated at the entrance of Valak's office, noticing for the first time the 3 complex locks on the thick wooden door. Absently fingering the locking mechanisms, I lingered in the doorway until Valak asked, "Now what?" "I'm not sure where my room is." Valak spoke as if talking to a slow-witted child. "Ask the first housekeeper or kitchen maid you find. They're always scurrying about this time of day. Tell her you're in the West Servant Wing. Ground floor. She'll show you." The kitchen maid I snared into helping me was more talkative than Marg, and I took full advantage of her good nature. She guided me to the laundry room to obtain some linens for my bed. Then I had her show me the way to the baths and the seamstress's work area. Delana's pile of uniforms might come in handy someday. In my room, I opened the shutters to let in the fading light from the setting sun. Sitting down at my desk, I wrote exhaustive notes on what I had learned that day, including a rough map of the servants' corridors. I considered more exploration of the castle, but Valak had been right. I needed my strength. I hoped I would have time to explore later. During the next 2 weeks, the training proceeded in a manner so similar to the first day that I lapsed into a routine. Arriving at Valek's every morning to train, after 14 days of sniffing poisons, I found that my sense of smell had heightened, but then Valek announced I was strong enough to begin tasting poisons. "I'll start with the deadliest one," he said. "If you don't die from it, the other poisons wouldn't kill you either. I don't want to waste all my time training you only to see you die in the end." He placed a slender red bottle on his desk. "It's nasty, affects the body immediately." Valek's eyes lit up as he admired the poison. "It's called Have a Drink, My Love, or My Love. For short," sorry, I lost where I was then. "Or My Love for short, because the poison has a history of being used by disheartened wives." He squeezed 2 drops of the poison into a steaming cup. "A large dose would definitely kill you. With a smaller dose, there is a chance you'll survive, but you'll become delusional, paranoid, and completely disorientated for the next few days." "Valek, why do I have to taste My Love if it has immediate results? Isn't that what the food taster is for? I taste the commander's food, I keel over dead, end of the tale." I tried pacing around the room but kept tripping over stacks of books. Frustrated, I kicked 2 piles into their neighbours, scattering books into a messy heap on the floor. Valek's gaze pierced me, draining the odd feeling of satisfaction I had gotten from kicking the books. "A food taster's job is much more complex than that," Valek explained, pulling his hair back from his face. "Being able to identify which poison taints the commander's food can lead me to the poisoner." Valek handed me the cup. "Even if you only have a split second to shout out My Love before passing out, it would narrow down the list of suspects. There are a number of assassins who are partial to My Love. The poison is growing in Sitia, the southern lands. It was easy to obtain before the takeover. With the closure of the southern border, only a handful of people have enough money to purchase it illegally." Valek went over to the mess on the floor and started restacking the books. His movements were so graceful, that I wondered if he had been a dancer, but his words betrayed to me that his fluid gestures were those of a trained killer. "Yelena, your job is very important. That's why I spend so much time training you. A shrewd assassin can watch a taster for several days to discover a pattern." Valek continued his lecture from the floor. "For example, the taster might always cut a piece of meat from the left side, or never stir the drink. Some poisons sink to the bottom of the cup. If the taster only sips off the top, then the assassin knows exactly where to place the poison to kill his intended victim." He finished picking up the books. The new piles were neater than the rest of the stacks on the floor. It seemed an invitation to Valek to continue straightening the books. He cleared a bigger path through his office. "Once you drink the poison, Marg will help you to your room and take care of you. I'll give her your daily dose of butterflies dust antidote." Wow, that's a mouthful. Sorry about that. I stared at the steam drifting from the tea. I picked up the cup, the heat warming my icy hands. Then Marg entered the room. It felt as if the executioner had just mounted the dice. Reaching for the lever. "Should I sit down or lie down?" I looked around the room. Seeing nothing, my arms started to tingle as I realised I had been holding my breath. I raised the cup in a mock salute and then drained the contents. Sour apples, I said. Valak nodded. I had only enough time to put the cup on the table before my world began to melt. Marg's body undulated towards me. Her large head sprouted flowers from her eye sockets. A moment later, her body filled the room as her head shriveled. I sensed movement. The grey walls grew arms and legs that reached for me, trying to use me in their fight against the floor. Grey spirits rose from under my feet. They dived, poked, and cackled at me. They were freedom. I tried to push the Marg thing away, but it clung and wrapped itself around me, digging through my ears and pounding on my head. Murderer, it whispered. Sneaky bitch. You probably slit his throat while he slept. Easy way to kill. Did you enjoy yourself as you watched his blood, soak the sheets? You're nothing but a rat. I grabbed at the voice, trying to make it stop, but it turned into 2 green and black toy soldiers who held me tight. She'll die from the poison. If not, you can take her, the Marg thing said to the soldiers. They pushed me into a dark pit. I plunged into blackness. The stench of vomit and excrement greeted me when I regained consciousness. They were the unmistakable odours of the dungeon. Wondering how I had ended up back in my old cell, I sat up. A surge of nausea demanded my attention. I groped around for the slop pot and encountered the metal leg of a bed, which I clutched as dry heaves racked my body. When they stopped, I leaned against the wall, grateful to be on the floor of the room and not back in the dungeon. Beds were a luxury not included with the subterranean accommodations. Summoning the strength to stand, I located and lit my lantern. Dried vomit caked my face. My shirt and pants were soaked wet and smelled foul. The liquid contents of my body had collected in a puddle on the floor. Marg took good care of me, I thought sarcastically. At least she was practical. If she had dumped me on the bed, I would have ruined the mattress. I thanked fate that I had survived the poison and that I had awakened in the middle of the night. Unable to endure the feel of my sodden uniform any longer, I made my way to the baths. On my return, voices stopped me before I reached the hallway leading to my room. Extinguishing my lantern in one quick motion, I peeked around the corner. 2 soldiers stood in front of my door. The soft light of their lantern reflected the green and black colours of their uniforms. Brazil's colours. Well, what do you think? Getting a bit interesting now, isn't it? Alt poisons are getting used in that. Wonder what's going to happen next. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. See y'all again soon. Oh yeah, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and you won't miss any random weird uploads that I do. Also, no matter whether it's morning, afternoon, evening or night time, I want you to do what you love doing. Love and hugs to all you fantastic people out there, and I'll definitely see you again soon. Bye, my beautifuls.